President Obama addressed the Indian Parliament in New Delhi today, describing an economic and security partnership with India and endorsing the country's bid for a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. India is President Obama's first stop on a 10-day trip to Asia. He leaves tomorrow for Indonesia. This is about 35 minutes.
Mr. Vice President, Madam Speaker, Mr. Prime Minister, members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and most of all, the people of India. I thank you for the great honor of addressing the representatives of more than 1 billion Indians in the world's largest democracy. I bring the greetings and friendship of the world's oldest democracy, the United States of America, including nearly 3 million proud and patriotic Indian Americans. Over the past 3 days, my wife Michelle and I have experienced the beauty and dynamism of India and its people. From the majesty of Humayun's tomb to the advanced technologies that are empowering farmers and women who are the backbone of Indian society. From the Diwali celebrations with school children to the innovators who are fueling India's economic rise. From the university students who will chart India's future, to you, leaders who helped to bring India to this moment of extraordinary promise. At every stop, we have been welcomed with the hospitality for which Indians have always been known. So, to you and the people of India, on behalf of me, Michelle, and the American people, please accept my deepest thanks. Bahut dhanyavad. I am not the first American president to visit India, nor will I be the last. But I am proud to visit India so early in my presidency. It's no coincidence that India is my first stop on a visit to Asia, or that this has been my longest visit to another country since becoming president. For in Asia and around the world, India is not simply emerging. India has emerged. And it is my firm belief that the relationship between the United States and India, bound by our shared interests and our shared values, will be one of the defining partnerships of the 21st century. This is the partnership that I've come here to build. This is the vision that our nations can realize together. My confidence in our shared future is grounded in my respect for India's treasured past, a civilization that's been shaping the world for thousands of years. Indians unlock the intricacies of the human body and the vastness of our universe. It's no exaggeration to say that our information age is rooted in Indian innovations, including the number zero. India, of course, India not only opened our minds, she expanded our moral imaginations with religious texts that still summon the faithful to lives of dignity and discipline, with poets who imagined a future where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. And with a man whose message of love and justice endures, the father of your nation, Mahatma Gandhi. For me and Michelle, this visit has therefore held special meaning. You see, throughout my life, including my work as a young man on behalf of the urban poor, I've always found inspiration in the life of Gandhiji and his simple and profound lesson to be the change we seek in the world. And just as he summoned Indians to seek their destiny, he influenced champions of equality in my own country, including a young preacher named Martin Luther King. After making his pilgrimage to India a half-century ago, Dr. King called Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent resistance the only logical and moral approach in the struggle for justice and progress. So we were honored to visit the residence where Gandhi and King both stayed, Mani Bhavan, and we were humbled to pay our respects at Rajghat. And I am mindful that I might not be standing before you today as President of the United States had it not been for Gandhi and the message he shared and inspired with America and the world. An ancient civilization of science and innovation, a fundamental faith in human progress. This is the sturdy foundation upon which you have built ever since that stroke of midnight when the tricolor was raised over a free and independent India. And despite the skeptics who said this country was simply too poor or too vast or too diverse to succeed, you surmounted overwhelming odds and became a model to the world. Instead of slipping into starvation, you launched a green revolution that fed millions. Instead of becoming dependent on commodities and exports, you invested in science and technology, and in your greatest resource, the Indian people. And the world sees the results, from the supercomputers you build to the Indian flag that you put on the moon. Instead of resisting the global economy, you became one of its engines, reforming the licensing Raj and unleashing an economic marvel that has lifted tens of millions of people from poverty and created one of the world's largest middle classes. Instead of succumbing to division, you have shown that the strength of India, the very idea of India, is its embrace of all colors, all castes, all creeds. It's the diversity represented in this chamber today. It's the richness of faiths celebrated by a visitor to my hometown of Chicago more than a century ago, the renowned Swami, Vivekananda. He said that holiness, purity, and charity are not the exclusive possessions of any church in the world, and that every system has produced men and women of the most exalted character. And instead of being lured by the false notion that progress must come at the expense of freedom, you built the institutions upon which true democracy depends. Free and fair elections, which enabled citizens to choose their own leaders without recourse to arms. An independent judiciary and the rule of law, which allows people to address their grievances. And a thriving free press and vibrant civil society, which allows every voice to be heard. This year, as India marks 60 years with a strong and democratic constitution, the lesson is clear. India has succeeded not in spite of democracy. India has succeeded because of democracy. Now, just as India has changed, so too has the relationship between our two nations. In the decades after independence, India advanced its interests as a proud leader of the non-aligned movement. Yet too often the United States and India found ourselves on opposite sides of a north-south divide, estranged by a long Cold War. Those days are over. Here in India, two successive governments, led by different parties, have recognized that deeper partnership with America is both natural and necessary. And in the United States, both of my predecessors, one a Democrat, one a Republican, worked to bring us closer, leading to increased trade and a landmark civil nuclear agreement. So, since that time, people in both our countries have asked, what's next? How can we build on this progress and realize the full potential of our partnership? And that's what I want to address today. The future that the United States seeks in an interconnected world, and why I believe that India is indispensable to this vision. How we can forge a truly global partnership, not just in one or two areas, but across many. Not just for our mutual benefit, but for the benefit of the world. Of course, only Indians can determine India's national interests and how to advance them on the world stage. But I stand before you today because I am convinced that the interests of the United States and the interests we share with India are best advanced in partnership. I believe that. The United States seeks security, the security of our country, our allies, and partners. We seek prosperity, a strong and growing economy in an open international economic system. We seek respect for universal values, and we seek a just and sustainable international order that promotes peace and security by meeting global challenges through stronger global cooperation. Now, to advance these interests, I have committed the United States to comprehensive engagement with the world based on mutual interest and mutual respect. And a central pillar of this engagement is forging deeper cooperation with 21st century centers of influence, and that must necessarily include India. Now, India is not the only emerging power in the world, but relationships between our countries is unique. For we are two strong democracies whose constitutions begin with the same words, the same revolutionary words: we the people. We are two great republics dedicated to the liberty and justice and equality of all people. And we are two free market economies where people have the freedom to pursue ideas and innovation that can change the world. And that's why I believe that India and America are indispensable partners in meeting the challenges of our time. Since taking office, I've therefore made our relationship a priority. I was proud to welcome Prime Minister Singh for the first official state visit of my presidency. For the first time ever, our governments are working together across the whole range of common challenges that we face. And let me say it as clearly as I can. The United States not only welcomes India as a rising global power, we fervently support it, and we have worked to help make it a reality. Together with our partners, we have made the G20 the premier forum for international economic cooperation, bringing more voices to the table of global economic decision-making, and that has included India. We've increased the role of emerging economies like India at international financial institutions. We valued India's important role at Copenhagen, where for the first time all major economies committed to take action to confront climate change and to stand by those actions. We salute India's long history as a leading contributor to United Nations peacekeeping missions. And we welcome India as it prepares to take its seat on the United Nations Security Council.